All right, well, we're here with Will Kirk. You guys know him as Washington Gun Law on YouTube, and we're just talking about how awesome our state is.
Yeah, your state is fantastic. No, I unfortunately, and I don't say this with great pride, but I actually think that there is no state legislature who hates lawful, responsible gun owners more than the state of Illinois. It's candidly disgusting, really. Yeah.
We've been living in that
it's definitely
craziness.
A rough place to live. So the cool thing, though, a little bit is probably within the last couple of years. I don't know exactly when you started your YouTube channel, but the information you've been able to put out, especially specifically about case law in Illinois, and what's going on right now, what might be going on in the future. For residents of Illinois, this has been awesome because, for most people, we're just like, we don't know. It's like we're held hostage, not only by the state legislature, but by not knowing what's coming up next.
Well, and you can't rely on mainstream media to keep you posted on the truth,
It's awesome having somebody like you available at the press of a button to help us walk our way through that. So I can't imagine how much time you spend researching Illinois.
So the whole thing with Illinois is it was just, I don't remember if it was a story on Amaland or whatever that drew my attention, and it was like, oh, it's another state banning assault weapons. And you see those stories. But then once I got into the procedures that they had done or skipped in doing so, I myself became personally invested in it. I was outraged. I was absolutely outraged. And as I was looking around the YouTuberverse, I didn't find anyone really speaking to the folks of Illinois as like, hey man, here's what's going on in simple English. Here's what you guys need to do. And so I jumped in and I did one video, and it really took off. And I could tell I was connecting with an audience out there. And I could just continue to do it, and I kept connecting. I made a lot of good friends out there. I'm going to try to get out there in September and watch Harold v. Raul get argued out there. And I've only spent time in Chicago, and I really want to go meet true Illinois people, which I know are in the south. That were you guys. I want to hang out with those folks. So, but yeah, kudos to you guys for doing what you're doing, because you were doing it behind enemy lines, man. Big time.
Big time.
We appreciate that.
It's definitely a battle, no doubt about it. It's a battle of information about a lot of people just aren't into case law. They're not really into guns. You got a lot of citizens out there that think that just what's the big deal? Illinois passed the Protect Illinois Communities Act. Don't they just want to protect everybody?
Right. Well, how's that working so far in Illinois, and especially in Chicago? Because one of the things I do every Monday, is I pick up, I go to the Chicago Tribune. I see how many they slaughtered in Cook County that weekend, and it's the numbers are disgusting. And then of course my question will be, of all of those homicides and serious injuries, how many of them were committed by a lawful, responsible gun owner? And the answer, of course, is going to be next to zero, right? But yet, for whatever reason, the state of Illinois continues to go after guys like you. And last time I checked, you're not the problem.
Nope.
You guys aren't going around shooting up the ghettos or anything like that.
What we see is a lot of times the people that are most affected negatively are the people living in the worst neighborhoods, the people who really need something to help protect themselves. You get a mom that's got 3 jobs and 2 kids and is going to work, late at night and coming home in a bad neighborhood. Those are the people that are being affected the most.
The truth is gun control has a disproportionate impact on the groups of individuals that those who grab guns purport to be in support of. Okay, the truth of the matter is our demographic group, white dudes, are one of the least likely to be encountered with violence. But there are people who are members of communities that simply because you are a member of that community, you could be subjected to violence. And I think that we're seeing this in the LGBTQ community. We're seeing this in the African American community. We certainly have seen it in the Asian and Jewish communities in the last couple of years. Big
absolutely.
Time. And I think that what everyone in Illinois and around the country needs to do is, this is an opportunity to really grow the size of our tent, in the 2A tent. And what we oftentimes do, and this is a political problem we have in general, is we always focus on what makes us different. But we need to start focusing on what we have in common. And you take the LGBTQ community. We don't have a lot in common with them, except that they absolutely positively have the right to preserve their life as they see fit.
Absolutely.
And you guys are 110% behind something like that. So that's where we as a community, I think, need to start connecting. Take, for example, what you did in Illinois. Now, I know they don't let your citizens have hearings on assault weapon bans, but one of the things we're doing in Washington is every time they introduce a piece of gun legislation, everyone who goes down to the legislator and testifies looks like you, me, or you. And it's always like, you ain't going to take my guns. And they're not listening because they don't care. Okay? What if all of a sudden, everyone who went down and testified against these measures were people of color, people in the disenfranchised communities? What if there was a bunch of blue-haired, nose-ring, they-thems?
Yeah.
Okay? And they're down there telling their legislatures, hey, I need to protect my life also. I think some legislators' heads would explode because they're being scolded by their own constituents.
Yeah.
When you want to go down to Springfield and talk to the legislature, you guys might as well go outside and throw rocks at the moon. They're not going to listen to you, right? So I think that as we could grow the tent, we can also change our tactics on how we fight some of this stuff.
Did you ever think, 5 or 10 years ago, that part of growing the tent would be YouTube?
Hey, I started this channel 3 years ago because I didn't have anything better to do during the pandemic.
Really?
No, I'm not joking. And if you go back and you look at my very first really horribly recorded videos, I had the long hair because I was on a haircut strike waiting for my kids to get back into school. And it had been a year and a half, and they'd been out of school altogether. And my first 30 videos were always just, I'm going to teach people in Washington what's going on. That's why I got the name Washington Gun Law. And it wasn't until I did one video about solvent traps, and I was like, hey man, bad idea, don't do it. And everyone kind of gave me the big middle finger for doing the video until about 6 months later when the solvent trap companies got raided, and I did my first I told you so video, and that's when I realized there was a national reach for it.
Yep.
And then along come states like yours where really there was a need to communicate with people and educate them. And so I appreciate it.
I tell you what, when the assault weapons ban went through, I was sending Dave your videos like every day. I was like, this dude, check this dude out, because you gave so much perspective and information on really what is a legislature that doesn't care about, trampling on people that are not a threat to them, but we're a threat in the idea world. We're a threat in the ideology world.
That's right.
And that's what this all is.
Because you're ungovernable.
Absolutely.
You're ungovernable, right? Yeah. And they don't want that.
Yeah.
Right?
I was the one with no mask on and COVID.
Yeah. Well, and if we go back, and I could be totally wrong, but this is a theory of mine. I believe that they used the pandemic to figure out who the lions and who were the lambs. And now they want to slaughter all the lions. They're totally cool with the lambs. They need a whole flock of them. But they're hunting the lions now. Yeah. And you guys are both lions, so remember that.
Yeah,
absolutely. So what's the future of the YouTube? Is this an embedded part of your future now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, hopefully until, YouTube kicks us all off or something. But I have really... I want to thank all the viewers out there because you guys are actually helping set me free. Because the larger my channels grow, the quicker I've been able to shrink my practice down. I was a trial attorney for 30 years, running my off, chasing it all the time, and the ability to kind of settle down and do more of an educational message has been very good for me personally and emotionally too.
Yeah. I think in the warfare that we're actually embarking in, it's not even really about actual physical things like guns. It's information.
Right.
It's the mind game. It's the ideologies. We're warring against other ideologies.
We're warring against misinformation too.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's just tons of misinformation, and and you guys, you'll see that I'm a huge Second Amendment supporter, but and then they throw the but, and then it's like, and then the word need comes out. I don't see why you need that gun.
Right.
Well, why do you need to vote? Why do you need to go to church on Sunday?
Yeah. Exactly.
Nobody ever asks you that question. Right, because rights aren't based upon our needs.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we appreciate everything you do.
Thanks,
and
guys.
Go ahead and for any of our subscribers that don't know much about you, where can people find you?
Yeah, so Washington Gun Law on YouTube. We're the home of the lawful and responsible gun owner. Every time something crazy in Illinois goes, I will be sure to get on it. We're on Twitter at Gun Washington. We're on Facebook, but nobody goes to Facebook anymore, so who cares? And check us out on Trigger Hill, new social media platform that is incredibly pro First Amendment. Because of that, it's going to be incredibly pro Second Amendment as well.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Check him out, and we're hoping maybe we can get him in on the podcast very soon.
Let's do it.
Do a little bit more full length and more in depth, getting into kind of the weeds of what all is going on in the community of our natural God-given rights. So check us out. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.